Hey everybody, this is Robert Reed, and I would like to give my predictions for All Elite Wrestling's first ever pay-per-view, Double or Nothing. I've got the match card right here. I'll go over it and give you my thoughts of who will win each match. First, we have the pre-show or the buy-in. The first match on the show, at least that's what's on here, is scheduled as Sammy Guevara versus Kip Sabian. I haven't heard too much about Kip Sabian. I've heard a little bit. I've heard a little bit more about Sammy Guevara, and they've been hyping him up a little bit more on being the elite. So I'm going to pick Sammy Guevara in this match. Plus, he's kind of the big, kind of dickish heel. I think I'm going to pick him on this match. Next, we have the Casino Battle Royale. That's the 21-man Battle Royal. After this week's whole thing with Pac leaving and his match with Adam Page being out, the winner of this Battle Royal, will apparently go on to face the winner of the match between Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega, and those two men will later on go on to face for the AEW World Championship at a later show. Some of the names I've heard that are going to be a part of this are MJF, Joey Janela, Brian Pillman Jr., Sean Spears, formerly known as Ty Dillinger, will also be part of this. There's 4 names have not been announced yet, and they're kind of keeping those secret. There's been a lot of speculation of who it could be, who those guys could be. Formerly Dean Ambrose, John Moxley has been heavily talked about. But with this being in the pre-show, I don't know if he will actually be on there on the pre-show. Might not be a good idea to have him on just the pre-show. They might want to save him for showing up as a surprise on the pay-per-view itself. So I don't know if he'll actually be in this Battle Royal. Some of the names I've heard have been Ryback could possibly be in it. I've heard Tama Tonga is talked about. I know he's in Las Vegas for StarCast. He could be there, but I don't know if there's any type of working relationship with New Japan or not. That would be a really good thing. Someone said Batista would. Let me tell you, if it's Batista, that is a gigantic get. But he's not going to be on a pre-show. Not a battle royal on a pre-show. That's not going to happen. The biggest one I've heard is Adam Page himself. Since the match with Pac was canceled, that he will be the surprise lucky 21 entrant. I'm actually in agreement there. I think he is actually going to be the lucky number 21 and win. That will go on with the match main event. Will go along with who I think will win the main event later on. But I do think the winner of the Battle Royal will be Hangman Page. Next, we have the main card. Starting, I hope I get these names right. I apologize if I get any of them wrong. First, we have Japanese legend Aja Kong teaming with Yuka Sakazaki and Emi Sakura versus Hakura Shida, Riho, and Ryo Mizunami. I think I got those okay. I think that Aja Kong's team is going to win this. One, she's the big name coming in. Plus, they really did a lot during their first press conference to hype up Yuka Sakazaki. They really made a point of mentioning her being a new signing. So I think with those two, I think that team is going to win. Then we have the women's triple threat between Britt Baker, Kylie Ray and Nyla Rose. Uh, a lot of people have been saying Britt Baker because they've been putting a lot of focus on her. But I am actually going to go with Nyla Rose on this. One, she is the first ever transgender wrestler for a major organization. And I think they're really going to hype that. And I think for that reason alone, I think she is going to take the first win in this company for their first women's match. I think she's going to win this match because I think long term, I think Britt Baker is who they're really going to push. But I think for this first show, they want to have that real surprise of because they are talking about wins matter. And I think if they really put over somebody new, would be a good idea. Next, we have the Best Friends, Chucky T and Trent Beretta, taking on Angelico and Jack Evans. I think this is going to be one of the surprise matches. I think it's going to be one of the really good matches on this show. If anybody has seen Lucha Underground, the work Angelico did on Lucha Underground is insane. The dive he took off the office into the ring was one of the craziest stunts I've ever seen in wrestling. I think that team is the team of Angelico, and Jack Evans is going to win. I think they're going to be pretty heavily pushed going forward in AEW. Because I could definitely see big matches between them and the Young Bucks going forward. Next, we have SoCal Censored, which is, of course, Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky, taking on the team of Strong Hearts, which is the OWE contingent. With Shima, El Lindemann, and I believe T-Hawk is the other person thing. I've never really heard much, but I've seen some clips from that company, and some of the stuff that they're producing is some of the craziest wrestling I've ever seen. Like they are Ricochet on almost another level. I've never seen as athletic guys as these guys. I think that the Strong Hearts are going to take this because I think they really want to keep that. I think they really want to keep a close relationship with OWE. So I think they're going to take and SoCal Uncensored can take the loss here, and I don't think it's really going to hurt them that much. I think they could easily bounce back. So I think the Strong Hearts are going to win this one. Next, we have Brother versus Brother, Cody Rhodes versus Dustin Rhodes. I think this is going to be one of the absolute best matches on the card. I think that they really got screwed over in WWE, that they never really got a real opportunity to have a match. They had the one match that was kind of a stinker, and they never got the chance to make up for that. I saw an interview with Dustin where he was very upset that they never got to make up for that. So I think that they're going to have that rematch, and I think that Cody is going to win this. This is the first of the four main EVPs to be in the show. I think that Cody is going to win this match. Just the story going in, really, they're really putting forward not just the brother versus brother thing, but the whole Cody Rhodes versus the Attitude Era, wanting to kill the Attitude Era. I think he is going to finally, in a way, fully turn heel. I don't think in like the heel authority figure way, but I think that he is going to turn heel and I think this is going to be a really violent match. I think that it's going to end really violently. I think Cody is going to do some really, really nasty stuff to Dustin at the end of this match. Especially with Cody's promo where he's talking about putting a bullet in the horse when it's time to put him away. I think that he's really going to go in on that, and really, I think it's going to be a brutal finish. Next, we have the AAA Tag Team Championship match between the Young Bucks and the Lucha Brothers. This is the second of the EVP matches. I actually am picking the Lucha Brothers since this is for the AAA Tag Championship. I think the Lucha Brothers. This is probably, I think, besides Jericho and Omega, I think this is going to be the best match on the show. If you've ever seen either team, the Young Bucks and the Lucha Brothers are legit two of the best tag teams in wrestling. Definitely right now, if not, I will argue of all time. I will put the Young Bucks up there with the Rockers, the Midnight Express, and the Rock and Roll Express. Absolutely. Jim Cornette can yell at me all he wants. I do think that they're up there with those guys. I think they're in there in talent and storytelling, whether he wants to believe it or not. But I think the Lucha Brothers are just up there with them, and with it being for the AAA Tag Team Championships, I think the Lucha Brothers are going to take the titles back home. Penta L0M is one of my favorite wrestlers current. After seeing him in Lucha Underground, I fell in love with his work. I think he's one of my favorite wrestlers currently. So I do think they are going to win. And finally, we have Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho. The winner of this match goes on to face the winner of the Battle Royal, and they will face at a later date for the AEW World Championship. This is actually a really hard one. I think it's going to be the best match of the show, bar none. Chris Jericho, even in his 40s, is one of the best wrestlers in the world. His storytelling is bar none. The promos he's been putting on to hype this show have all been amazing. Kenny Omega, obviously the best wrestler in the world, maybe besides AJ Styles. I think those are the two guys you can probably compare as the two best wrestlers in the world right now. This is a really hard one because Kenny Omega won their first match in New Japan. And I know but I also know Chris Jericho has a really big match with Okada coming up. And Jericho could really use the win here. I'm actually going to go with Jericho on this because another reason is, as I pointed out earlier, with Hangman, me thinking Hangman is going to win the Battle Royal, I think that's going to lead in to him facing Chris Jericho, and then that's going to be the big win for Hangman Page, is beating Chris Jericho for the AEW World Championship. Because it does feel like that is the big person they really want to push as their main champion, starting as Hangman. So I think it's a bigger deal. As big of a star as Kenny Omega is, I think it is a much bigger deal if Hangman Page beats Chris Jericho for the AEW Championship than if he beat Kenny Omega. Because even though it would be a great match, it's babyface versus babyface, and that is normally not going over real well for a title. It's always been best if it's a face versus heel. And I think Hangman Page beating Chris Jericho would be the feather in the cap. Look, the big star from WWE got beat by our homegrown guy. I think that's where they're going forward with that. So I think that Chris Jericho is going to win here, and then he will go on to face Hangman Page, and Hangman Page is later going to be your first AEW World Champion. Thank you for watching. I will hopefully have a review up later after, actually tonight, because it is now Saturday at my time, so technically it's just after midnight. I will try to get a review as soon as I can. I will probably have to watch a replay because I'll have my son with me, so I can't watch the show while he's with me, but I will be watching the show at some point, and I will get a review up of it. Thank you for watching. I will see you guys later.